All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. Just doing another quick lesson here, just dealing with the book of Jasher. I think there's upwards of 5 iterations of it now. Um, but I want to know if this is just basically a question for these Hebrews out here that are reading the book of Jasher. Does this uh exist in your version of the book of Jasher? Let's see. This is Jasher 24, and I'll start at verse 39. All right. The reason they all blessed the Lord who brought this thing about, and they gave him Rebekah. All right. We know this is Rebekah from the scriptures, and the daughter of Bethuel for a wife for Isaac. And the young woman was of very comely appearance. She was a virgin, and Rebekah was 10 years old in those days. Now, for all you Hebrews that are reading the book of Jasher, turn to Jasher 24, verse 40, and does it or does it not say that Rebekah was 10 years old in verse 40? Because in verse 42, which is the next morning, she was leaving to go to be with Isaac. All right. So now let's look and see what the scriptures say about the age of Isaac. This is Genesis 25. All right. This is verse 20. And it says, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel the Syrian of Padan Aram, the sister of to Laban the Syrian. All right. So now, and Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, and she was barren or whatever. So now, let's scroll back up. We're gonna go back to Genesis 24, the last verse. Now remember, in Jasher, it said she was 10 years old, and the next day they was heading back towards Isaac. Now, let's see what happened when they reached their destination. I don't think this was years it took for them to go back to where Isaac was. All right. And it says, verse 60, I'll start at verse 66. All right. And the servant told Isaac, this is the same servant that rose back up the next day in the book of Jasher to start going back towards where they were. And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. All right. Verse 67. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. So clearly, here it tells you that Isaac, when she came to him, Isaac took her into his mother's tent, and she became his wife. That means they had sex. So it just told you in Genesis 25, verse, I believe, 20 or 22, that Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife. Here is a clear example of people that go and get these books and do not know what's in these books because they haven't studied these books. There's a reason why the book of Jasher, the book of Jubilees, the book of Enoch, and several other books have not been or were not added to the 1611 and even subsequent translations. The reason why is because those texts that we have, the Torah, the prophets, all of these things have stood the test of time. All right. These other books have been proven over and over again to either be fabrications, such as the book of Jasher, which is a rabbinical work from the medieval period, or the book of Jubilees, which was written during the Greek period, all right, or the book of Enoch, which was also written during the Greek period, all right. So all of these books are claiming to be older than what they are, but they were written much later, all right. So again, Open up the book of Jasher that you may or may not own. Turn to chapter, let's go back here. Pull it back up, let you know. I just exited out. Let's undo that. It's Jasher 24. All right. And you want to go to verse 40. And it clearly says, and the young woman was of very comely appearance. She was a virgin. Of course, she was a virgin. She was 10 years old in those days. So again, the very next morning, the servant rose up and was headed towards Isaac. So, how old was Rebecca when she married Isaac according to the book of Jasher? And with that, I say, Shalom.